Welcome to Never Shut Up. It's your boy Marcellus Wiley. And I know what you guys are looking at right now. You're looking at a guy who's hungover from the Super Bowl festivities. And I'm not just talking about the alcohol. I'm talking about what a game. That was an amazing game. I went to Keyshawn Johnson's, a childhood friend of mine from LA, obviously. He has a new tequila out. And let's just say, since it was free, it was me. I had a ball watching the game with Keyshawn, a bunch of other guys in the building. Family was there, MJ on my lap. You know I can't leave my boy behind. But we had a great time watching this game. And so many things were happening all at once. We know how the Super Bowl can be overwhelming. You're there for the game, but wait a minute, those commercials, and then wait a minute, halftime show, then wait a minute, which stars are in attendance, all that stuff, right? Well, let's break it on down and start our show with the first and most important thing. All things Super Bowl, but just focus in on the ball, like the actual football game. Let's stay between the white lines here. And I was watching this game. I predicted that the Chiefs would win by 2. They end up winning by 3. Now, I'm not going to tell you my score because it sounds better and smarter if I just say they won by 2. But I thought they were going to win the game 30-28. They end up winning the game 38-35. The game didn't go as expected, at least to me. You saw Philadelphia come out there fast. Philadelphia came out there comfortable. Jalen Hurts balled the entire game. That last second Hail Mary withstanding. That's separate. But he balled the entire game. Great character, great composure. Led the offense, especially in the first half. What, they have a 10-point lead, 24-14? And then all of a sudden, Andy Reid got in his bag. Now, you got to remember who Andy Reid is, the guy who went to, 5 NFC championship games with Donovan McNabb with the Philadelphia Eagles. And now look at him with Patrick Mahomes, 5 straight AFC championship games, 3 Super Bowl appearances, 2 wins, a dynasty in the making, if not already made. So Andy Reid comes out with adjustments that, frankly, the Philadelphia Eagles never adjusted to. That's what football is, especially in high-stakes football, playoff football, Super Bowl football. It's what is your plan B, not your plan A. Your plan A is your regular season efforts. Your plan A is what gets you there. But now you're going against another Goliath. You're going against the number 1 seed from the other conference in this Super Bowl if you're the Chiefs. Playing the Eagles, you got to know that they're going to adjust to you, and they have to adjust to you. Kansas City made one more adjustment. What they were able to do was spread the team out. No number 1 true receiver out there. You call Travis Kelce that, but he's still a tight end. There is a difference. And they went out there, and Patrick Mahomes, who was injured, who was compromised, and you saw before the half what happened to his ankle as well, was not sacked 1 time. Now, the headlines are, should they have called the defensive holding at the end of the game, a minute 54 left in the tie game? Do you call that? Let me tell you what, before you even get to that play, defense, Philadelphia Eagles, where are your sacks? Not only just for pressure on a normal quarterback, but pressure on the potential GOAT in the making, Patrick Mahomes, who was injured. You guys didn't hit him. You guys didn't get to him. Not enough, not by your standards. So if you look at it like that, first, it's no pressure on the quarterback. Then it comes to the fumble by Jalen Hurts, who had an amazing game with 4 total touchdowns. We saw him 3 rushing touchdowns and 1 through the air. Big bomb, beautiful pass. But when he was running and tried to switch the ball from hand to hand while in contact, you saw that obviously went awry, and that was the first mistake. Bill Belichick used to always say, more games are lost than won in the NFL. That was a moment, a miscue, that led to them losing that game. Also, the punt return. You see a punt return by Kadarius Toney, 65 yards. That sets up the game-winning drive. Those are the miscues that need to be the highlights, need to be the headlines. But instead, we know what it is. Blame game, right? Kanye Ben said it. It's the blame game. So we're going to look at the officials. We're going to look at the referees. Don't call that one. Not in that moment. Not under 2 minutes. Well, let me tell you this. Was it a penalty? Yes. Should you call all penalties at all times? I raise my hand and say yes. it seems like by the chorus of the people out there who want to see a good game, it sounds like you guys don't want that. But you want it if it's against your team, right? But you don't want it, obviously, when it's for your team in the terms of they don't call it on us, but call it on them. We got to keep this fair and unbiased. Y'all know what Never Shut Up is about. So in that moment, hey, you holding Juju Smith-Schuster, that allows them to go and continue to drive. You held them because you thought they were going to complete that pass. I'm sorry, guys. I was sitting there like, oh, this has been an amazing game, and I hate for the officials to decide it, but don't put it in the officials' hands to decide it. Don't commit that penalty. I was watching all this in totality, taking it in, just like, damn, Patrick Mahomes, what is he going to be? Because he's not even fully made yet. 5 AFC championship games. You talk about him being in 3 Super Bowls, winning 2, and already he's looking like I'm in the GOAT conversation. People are putting him in there already. I'm like, I hate to say it, but by his resume right now and the projections, the forecast of what's to come, and it doesn't seem like anything's going to slow this team down, man, I think this dude might be the GOAT. Tom Brady just retired the second time. And already before he can even get comfortable in retirement, somebody is trying to chase him down, trying to clip at his heels. However, we know there's a long way between being the guy who has, 7 championships and the guy who has 2. But Patrick Mahomes, so fast, so good, so early. It was an amazing game. I loved it all. Sorry it had to come down to the officials kind of making that decision. But when that ball went through the uprights, I think the deserving team won that game. It wasn't about how many good plays Philly made or how many good plays KC made. It's how few bad plays you saw the Chiefs make in comparison to the Eagles, especially late. Because the Uncle momentum gets going. And we saw in the first half, it looked like it was the Eagles' game. Eagles might run away with this game. It might be a blowout. But it was a game of adjustments. And the plan B for the Kansas City Chiefs was able to handle what the Philadelphia Eagles were able to show. Now we're going to see what this offseason looks like, how they redesign, how they reshuffle these teams. But a dynasty certainly in the making, a GOAT in the making, all of that by 3 points, by a field goal, how narratives change, how legacies change. And that's why guys really love the Super Bowl more than anything. Of course, you want to go around and say you're the champion and they can never take that away from you. But it's the easiest, fastest, greatest way to change how people think of you. Oh, you were good before that. Win that Super Bowl. Now you're talking greatness. Well, coming up, we're going to continue to talk all things Super Bowl. But now we're going to talk about the business, right? The commercials. What was the best commercials? Let's talk about that halftime show. Oh, I saw that bump, but is that enough to excuse what I saw other than that bump? We'll get into all that and more on Never Shut Up on Brinks TV and Reach TV. Welcome back to Never Shut Up. And it's all things Super Bowl right now on this show. And let's get into the business of it. Don't want to waste any time like Rihanna wasted 13 minutes of my time in that performance yesterday. But let's dive into it on this show. We keep it real. Let's start with the halftime show. Okay. Now, when they announced it was Rihanna, obviously there was a reaction, not polarizing too much, but it was like, wow, Rihanna's coming back. Everyone was excited. They haven't seen Rihanna since what? They said 2016 in the live performance. That's hard to believe. But now she's coming back, and we're like, all right. Now, the first thing I think about, because I'm a DJ, right? My first love, my greatest passion is actually music, not sports. I'd much rather been on the stage like a Rihanna instead of in the trenches like I actually was. But I'm like, okay, Rihanna has that Black Panther song, kind of slower, sleepy, some will call it, but big hit. I was like, what is she gonna play? And then I had to slap myself. I said, that's wrong, that's rude. Because when other artists go out there, you know, historic artists, big artists, I don't ask where's their new stuff because I want to hear the hits. I want to hear the heat, right? So I'm like, it's okay. She's not going to play anything new or current. Just go out there and give me some umbrella. Hey, run this town. Do all you got to do. I get it. But I did have a strike in my head. Like, I don't know about that. We'll see. Rihanna's not known as the greatest performer, even though she's one of the greatest artists. That's fine. And then it happens. She's out there. And you know, the visuals, the set, whatever, the gown that continued to grow as the minutes elapsed, that was just getting bigger and bigger. And now we know why. It was to cover up that belly. I remember watching it in live time, and the sociologist in me, right? That was my degree at Columbia for a reason. I wanted to be a school teacher, and I love to witness the patterns of life. I started looking around, especially at the ladies at the party I was at, the Rihanna fans, right? I wanted to see their reaction, and it was measured. It was reserved. They were sitting there like, okay, she warming up. She warming up. I'm like, all right, she about halftime right now. She better get warm. And she continued to perform. And I just didn't see people losing it. I was like, that's fine. You know, that's how it goes. She does the bump and the pregnant. All right, now we get it. Now I went to my next strike. I was like, is this pregnancy, congratulations, by the way, respect to your newborn that's coming and your one that you already just had with ASAP Rocky. We get what ASAP stands for. Got to hurry up and make another baby. That's ASAP, baby. All right. I'm like, is the pregnancy going to be used as cover for this performance? Like right now I'm reading headlines that, oh, Rihanna is pregnant. I was like, but how did she perform? Oh, Rihanna was pregnant. Okay, so now I'm in my social circle. I'm asking my wife. I'm asking my friends, what y'all think of the performance? I mean, she could have did more, but she's pregnant. And I was like, okay, she's not due tomorrow. And I remember in talking to my wife and other people, my wife was in spin class like in almost her 9th month. And I'm not comparing Rihanna to my wife, but I'm just saying, I think you got a little more in you, Rihanna, than just what I saw, right? In terms of energy. She was lip syncing, which, you know, which side of the fence are you on with that? I don't mind lip syncing, because if you ever try to sing, dance, I think you're going to prefer lip syncing and just dancing, right? So I wasn't mad at that. She didn't give her best effort lip syncing either. I was like, damn, Rihanna, come on. Give me something. You're not moving. You're not lip syncing on cue. What is this? And then finally, I saw some reactions out there that said, oh, now this is polarizing. All the way from former President Donald Trump, who him and Rihanna are feud. So she just some gas for that fire, right? Kodak Black, who obviously gonna support Trump because he got prison because of Trump. He called uncle don't look like that, but hey, that's your uncle. Hey, you got a different looking family. I get it. But all of this, and then that started to grow. Then you start seeing more articles like, yeah, pregnant, but. So I'm really asking you guys and challenging you guys, was the pregnancy enough to justify what we really didn't see in performance? Or are you like me? Like Patrick Mahomes, his ankle was hurt, right? Nobody gave a damn if he was going to win or lose about hearing that ankle. You go out there, no excuse. Does that cover artists? Does that cover Super Bowl halftime show? Because compromise, obviously, she's pregnant. I respect that. But you got an option. You can skip a year. You can wait, have that baby, and then come out there and perform. Give us best of both worlds instead of sacrificing one for the other. Well, another thing that happened, obviously, are the Super Bowl commercials. I'm sitting there with my son. He has no idea what Super Bowl commercials are. He's like, whatever, daddy. I was like, basically, they spent way too much money to sell us some shoes and stuff. He's like, oh, okay. So he is paying keen attention. All right, I'm going to give it to you, my short list. Honorable mention, I give it to Snoop and Skechers. Because between Kanye West not getting allowed a meeting with Skechers and now Snoop is endorsing Skechers, Skechers is getting cool. Like, you actually feel like I could throw on a pair of Skechers. They're a lot closer than they were a few months ago, and certainly after that commercial. That was a good commercial. Number 3 for me was Pepsi Zero Sugar with Ben Stiller. Y'all catch that one? That was good. He was like, is this great acting or is this great tasting? But the best part wasn't all the little individual scenes, is the challenge. He basically said, figure it out for yourself. Well, how can we figure it out? Damn it, got to go taste some Pepsi Zero. I was like, that's a clever campaign right there. But I'm going to tell you, they're not a sponsor of our show yet. Diet Coke and Coke Zero got Pepsi Zero, but they ain't get them yesterday in commercials. Number 2, Uber One with Diddy. That was dope. Oh, man, I love it. The dude next to Diddy stole the show. Like his little sidekick, homie, Diddy don't do jingles. I was like, man, that was a good commercial. Montel Jordan, all the stars in it. Really creative right there. But my number 1, I mean, this was mind-blowing. This is probably going to go in some of the all-time commercial categories. Y'all caught that Sam Adams Brighter Boston commercial? When they were just playing all the stereotypes of Boston, but because Sam Adams has a lighter beer, I guess fewer carbs, they all of a sudden flipped the stereotypes of Boston into making them all positive, like Kevin Garnett being nice, saying, oh, don't trash talk, spread love. You know, all of the mafia, mob scenes that they're usually typical in Boston. All of a sudden, they're flipping them, they're recycling cans, and they're just spreading love and joy all around. So, to me, that's the one that stole the show. Sam Adams, number 1 of all the Super Bowl commercials. Now, who stole the show in terms of attire? Because you know these dudes got to show up and show out. And I'm torn, I ain't gonna lie, because I'm not the type to dress up like that. Exhibit A, right? But Juju Smith-Schuster showing up with the kilt, I was like, all right, the biggest game in your life and you kilted up, do you? But then Fletcher Cox had to show up with that Luther Vandross satin blouse. I don't know what he had on. Like the suit was dope, crispy, had the chains out, Marvin Gaye style, looking like chest hair, taco meat on display. Give it to him. But the blouse, like Ricky Smiley was like, the game's over. We just saw the best play of this entire Super Bowl. He wore a actual blouse. Insane. And the last thing I took notice of about the business of the Super Bowl was that the NFL spent $800,000, 800 grand on the surface, on the field, on the side. And do you know guys still were slipping? Guys were changing their shoes and cleats. Jalen Hurts had on cleats in the first quarter, second quarter he had on different cleats. It was crazy. NFL, I know y'all print money, but how about you spend it in the right places? I am a huge fan of natural turf. Simple, easy. People say you get hurt more on it. No, you get hurt more playing football. On grass, on turf, don't matter. You play football, you're going to get hurt. You won't have guys switching their cleats, though, either. And you won't have guys slipping and sliding all through the game. So kudos to the NFL for having that money, but shame on y'all for spending it on something that was messed up from hello. All of that was great to see. The business of the NFL Super Bowl, it just gets bigger and bigger every single year. Well, coming up on Never Shut Up, we're going to switch gears, talk a little basketball. A little haterade maybe here. Anthony Davis finally responds to why, when LeBron set the all-time scoring record, he was sitting on the bench pouting, not supporting his boy. All that and more on Never Shut Up on Brinks TV and Reach TV. Welcome back to Never Shut Up, and right now I'm about to sip on my Never Shut Up chalice, which you guys can get from Brinks TV. Sign on, make sure you get your free account, and support by getting your merch, your gear, and your chalice. But let me sip on a little haterade. Give me that, Anthony Davis. Because I just read something that made me think, damn, Anthony, think you got a little haterade in your blood. Let's talk about it. This is AD's official response to the clip that went viral about him sitting on the bench and pouting while LeBron James is just, I don't know, setting the NBA's all-time leading scorer record right in front of him. Instead of supporting his boy, instead of saying whatever I'm going through right now, congratulations, LeBron, you did something that we all dream of doing, and now you're living it. Anthony Davis comes out and says this, quote, and tell me if y'all believe this. I was pissed off that we were losing. It's nothing that had to do with Bron, end quote. Okay, there's only two options here, right? Either he's lying, ding, 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 or this is when keeping it real goes wrong. Like, what? Let's just go with the latter. He's keeping it real. Huh? You're losing a game, and this is the NBA where you play 82 of them. You guys, especially the Lakers, will lose 40 of them, if not more. And now, but in this moment, man, damn, I can't believe we down. How we get down? Oh, LeBron set the record. Congratulations. Confetti's falling from the sky. Man, forget all that, dog. We down 2 points. Let's go. Hustle. Like, what? You make no sense if this is real. You might be a little maniacal if this is real. Like, you can't compartmentalize and support your boy in the moment. I've been there when the bullet's alive. I've been there when we've been down or a guy sets a record. And trust me, those two things are not the same. I'm able to say, hey, we got business to tend to, but right now, flowers, respect, congratulations. I couldn't imagine to be a teammate of Bruce Smith when he's setting the NFL's all-time sack record, but instead of me supporting and congratulating him, I'm sitting there like, man, we down 3. Are we going to kick a field goal or not? Man, we're a punt team. Like, what are you talking about? He just set the all-time record. All right, let's go to the real answer, the real choice. Anthony Davis, you lying. And now, why are you lying? Because there's no way you got lost in that moment and oblivious to what's happening on that court. Why are you lying? I wonder. There are a lot of tangles in that relationship, right? LeBron obviously got respect for him as a player and needs him because when Anthony Davis got here to the Lakers, they went from not making the playoffs to winning the championship bubble ring. Y'all get it, right? He got respect for him. But LeBron also is a client of Clutch Sports, but let's just be real. Him and Rich Paul, such boys, and that's his agency, right? So I wonder if that relationship, and not trade talks for Anthony Davis, but trade curiosity for Anthony Davis at times could strain that relationship. It just looked like LeBron James was sitting there saying, man, I want you to be the best man at my wedding. And he was complaining about the rice that was being thrown. Instead of just getting out there, dog, support your boy. I ain't never in my life seen that much haterade. And then trying to excuse it. That doesn't sit well. So I wonder if Bron, the teammate, Bron, just another guy in the league who's doing even better than Anthony Davis, which is a short list. Bron, the agent that has Anthony Davis as a client. Or Bron, the homie, like Anthony Davis. Bron, the alpha versus Anthony Davis. Like, whose team is this? Whatever you want to speculate, whatever you want to guess on, something is going on with that relationship because there's no way you have that moment. Someone who is now in the climax of the greatest accomplishment a scorer could ever have, and that's your teammate, and you sitting there mad because you want to make sure you get a couple more points and win that game. It was interesting to watch because I don't believe Anthony Davis told us the truth, and probably smart for not telling the truth. You imagine if he actually came out, man, I can't stand Bron. He always sucking up the oxygen in the room. Everywhere I go, no matter what I do, Bron was there. Bron did it. It's Bron's team. Bron's the reason. And I bet there was some of that jelly belly jealousy going on in that moment. So next time, check his Gatorade because Anthony Davis looked like he was sipping on some haterade. Well, coming up on Never Shut Up, it's time to go full episode. Go raw, go deep, go real. It's time for us to talk about the traffic jam that is getting into the NFL Hall of Fame. Boy, I heard some feelings last week talking about my list. Let's get into that more on Brinks TV, and thank you guys for watching us on Reese TV. See you in a second. Back to Never Shut Up, full episode, deep, raw, real on Brinks TV. And it's time to get real about the NFL and this Hall of Fame because we just saw the latest class get inducted into the Hall of Fame. And boy, was that controversial for many reasons, but let's unpack it. One, we have to know the difference in all of the Hall of Fames because all Hall of Fames aren't created equal and all Hall of Famers aren't created equal. And don't y'all dog curse me right now. Y'all like, why the hell you talking about it? You ain't a Hall of Famer. Excuse me, I actually am. I'm a Hall of Famer on every single level except the one that matters most, which is the NFL level. But I'm a Pop Warner Hall of Famer, whatever the hell that is. I don't even know what they gave us. High school Hall of Fame. Actually, my picture is up at my high school. And this is the high school that all the NBA guys practice. LeBron on down. Giannis will be in there. Pictures of Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, etc. So they all get to see me just sitting there, big old huge portrait with my ugly face just smiling at them. And college, I was blessed enough to be an All-American. I think it was All-American twice. College. Hall of Fame. Now, this is Columbia now. This is not Collegiate Hall of Fame, but I have had my taste of success at the highest of levels. But now, let's talk about the NFL Hall of Fame. There's a problem. NFL Hall of Fame, too damn hard to get into right now, right? NBA Hall of Fame, too damn easy to get into, right? Because they look at contributions to the game. They don't just say, hey, how good were you in the game of basketball? They're like, did you contribute to the game, help it grow globally? Like a Yao Ming. Yao Ming by the numbers, that's not a Hall of Famer. Yao Ming by contributions to the game and bringing it overseas into China, oh yeah, he a Hall of Famer. And then baseball's Hall of Fame is just too silly, right? Like steroids or no steroids, I don't know, I didn't inject them, but look at him, he had more muscles. Don't let him in. Oh, he was better. But look how big his head is. Barry Bonds' head is this big. He had to be on something. All right, don't let him in. And it's like, next thing you know, that sounds great, right? The path to hell is paved with good intentions. It sounds great until you look who's in the Hall of Fame. And then you start realizing, wait a minute, who's in here and Barry Bonds is not? Oh, y'all need to get this stuff straight. So now we get back to NFL Hall of Fame. And to tell y'all the real, I had a couple conversations with a few people who were like, dude, why did you say I'm not a Hall of Famer? So for clarity purposes, every name I'm going to read is a Hall of Famer, but that's not the question. Are you going to get in the Hall of Fame, and when are you going to get in the Hall of Fame? Because they had a list that came out of all the guys, and I could read through it, but I'll bore you. But the thing is, I simply answered it, and it was on Dan Patrick's show, yes or no, based on are they getting in or not. Guess what I ended up doing? I went 4 for 5. I said no to Rondé Barber. I didn't think he was going to get in. Let's be real. He got in on his 6th try, so I'm not too far off. But Darrelle Revis got in. I said, hell yeah. Joe Thomas got in. I said, hell yeah, by far. And then Zach Thomas on his 10th try got in. I said, yes. And last but not least, DeMarcus Ware. He got in on his 2nd try, and I said yes. 4 for 5, not bad. Only missed on Ronnie Barber in his 6th year. Now, all of that said, there was a lot of names that you're sitting there like, he's not in yet. Patrick Willis, what is going on? I understand. He didn't play forever. Neither did Terrell Davis. But Terrell Davis got in. Patrick Willis, better than Terrell Davis at what he did. Let's just say that. I can say that. And Terrell Davis was amazing. But it was short, fast, and furious. But Patrick Willis, day 1 Rookie of the Year. Patrick Willis, 5 All-Pros, 7 Pro Bowls? Like, from hello, the dude was insane. Let's talk about some other greats that's on that list that didn't get in. Willie Anderson, I know it's not a sexy position. Offensive tackle. I played against Willie Anderson. He would put them paws on your ass and hem you up. That dude needs to get in. I'm leaving guys out. Robert Mathis, beast. Everybody talked about Freeney, who's another guy that needs to get in. But Mathis was just as good. You talk about another 100-sack guy. Freeney, Mathis. My boy, Rodney Harrison. Rodney Harrison deserves to get in, but Rodney Harrison never got his due when he played. Only 2 Pro Bowls because Rodney was so gangster on that field that guys didn't like him and they didn't want to vote for him. They always respected him, but they didn't always like him. So now Rodney Harrison is finding out the same thing he found out when he played, that likability matters. Not anything to slight Rodney. That was a tremendous teammate, one of my best friends from playing. But Rodney knows it's political out there, and it's tough to see. Torrey Holt, Andre Johnson, Jared Allen. Look at these names, y'all. Steve Smith Sr. All I'm saying is James Harrison, they all deserve to be Hall of Famers. But maybe they're going to have to open it up to more than just 5 guys get in, because there's no need for them to have it so stringent that even the best players can't get in. You got guys like Zach Thomas waiting 10 tries? That's crazy. So that's also something that tells you how precious it is to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, I was on the all good team. I'm not talking about this all great team. I was on the all good team. 2 times I was voted top 50 in the league. I had my moments where people were looking at me like, keep that up, Wiley. You might be somewhere. You know, I was on route. I was on the way. I had the GPS coordinates for Canton, Ohio. And then I don't know what happened. I lost control of the wheel. It just steered off the road, and next thing you know, ended up a ditch somewhere in Missouri, not Ohio. All of that said, I respect the game. I respect every one of these players because they all unequivocally were better than me. But we need a better system. We need a better way to get these guys into the Hall of Fame. It doesn't have to be come one, come all, but it has to be greater than it is right now, because you got too many good guys sitting there on the outside. All right, you guys know how we end Never Shut Up every single week, every single day. What a Wileyism. And today's Wileyism is, you are as trusting as you're trustworthy. Making sure my wife's not around here. All right, you're as trusting as you're trustworthy. I remember when this one hit me, and I was like, wow, I am actually a guy that looks at life through my experiences, right? And through what I really envision my life as. And I started to say, am I the only person like that? Am I the only person that's really looking at every situation based on what I've been through and then what I want from it? And I started asking around. And then I started to realize, oh, we are all prisoners of our experiences, right? That's why parenting is so important. That's also why your social circle is so important. Your environment is so important. Your friends, everything, your community is so important, because they really cultivate your greatness in you, or they can help bring some of that bad that's in all of us, right? So I started to realize, man, I'm only as trusting as I'm trustworthy. I'm only as open to how I feel about myself. And it was crazy because in relationships especially, I had been a cheater. And so now when I meet a girl, the first thing I want to know is, do you know any of my friends? Do you know any of my homies? Do you know anybody I know? Which was a dumbass question because I knew people she knew. But I'm sitting there like asking her. And I finally got checked. Like somebody was like, why you care? Like, what do you think this is? Like, I got an odometer or a mileage counter? Like, I don't care who you've been with. You with me. And I was like, oh, because I'm only as trusting as I'm trustworthy. The little cheater in me was like, get ahead of this. Find out if she's just like your ass. Find out if she's just as crazy as you. And I was like, no, you're not going to find out by a questionnaire. This ain't a SAT. You got to go through the experiences, right? And that's not just in relationships, not just in intimate relationships. It's in life. Like, you can't ask life, what you going to do for me? I'm not going to take that risk unless you tell me how it's going to be. No. You got to take that risk for that reward, right? So if you start looking at everything that you do and the things that you limit yourself to, or the things that you jump into, but you also put a glass ceiling on yourself. I'm only go this far. I'm only going to give them a little of me and see how they respond. Maybe you're just like me or how I was. You're only as trusting as you're trustworthy. Well, that'll do it for our Monday episode of Never Shut Up. I hear this episode 9. Boy, they starting to add up fast. Love you guys out there. Don't forget to go to Brinks TV, get your challenge, get your merch, get your gear, support your boy. All the love in the world to you guys. See you tomorrow on Never Shut Up on Brinks TV. Peace. Some of this Anthony Davis haterade.